I want to introduce this person I wanted to have this discussion with. She went from working a 9 to 5 to having her own digital marketing agency. She's been Boom 103.9s, 30 under 30. She's young, she's doing her thing. So Antoinette Minor, ladies and gentlemen, I want to start at the beginning with the 9 to 5.
Sure.
So what exactly were you doing? You don't gotta say the company, you don't gotta shout them out. But what were you doing?
So I went to school thinking I was going to do communications, and then the economy was like, nah, bruh, you're going to take whatever job is out there, right? So I'm in this communications degree, and then I end up in finances. I don't even know how, because I'm not the best at counting unless it's counting money. But so I'm in finances and worked at a credit union, started as a teller, managed a branch, did business development and sales. And then I went into financial literacy, which is completely different from digital marketing. But I saw an avenue to do what I really wanted to do, and I just had to make a space for myself. So that's how I ended up here, but that's what I was doing before. I was really just in finances and financial literacy before I took my leave.
What made you start blogging about your career?
So just going back to the millennial thing, we have a really bad rep out there. We're lazy, we feel entitled, all these other things about us in the workspace. And one day I walked into work and my boss pulled me to the side and said, hey, we're going to give you a $5,000 raise. Not just because I was doing well, yeah, right? Mind you, just fresh out of college. Yes, I'm eating today.
You made it.
And not just because I was doing a good job, but they had said, you know, you're a very good influence around the other employees, and it was their strategy to try and keep the team together. So they had saw that I was a valuable asset, and I said, oh, this corporate workspace thing is a real thing, politics and stuff, and I just started getting really into it and started writing about it on my blog. And I was real sneaky. I used to do some stuff like when I would start a new job, tell them what my real name was and then tell somebody my nickname and see how far it would travel. Like I would do all that stuff. And it just focusing on work and showing other millennials how they can succeed in the workplace was my main focus in the blog. And then also just being transparent. So like the times that I got sent home because I wore the wrong thing, don't do that. Don't be like me. And when you get your annual review, how can you use that to do better the next year? So that's really why I started blogging, because I had an interest in it, and it honestly was supposed to be a book, but I realized real quick that I don't have the attention span for that. So I just started writing it in the blog, and then maybe one day it'll be a book, who knows? But I just was getting it out of my system through the blog called The Young Professionalist.
And how long were you blogging before you started to like see some traction?
Probably maybe 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
2 or 3 years.
It takes a long time. And I wouldn't even say that my blog was the biggest thing that I've ever done. I think it got me to where I am now, but I know people who are in the game blogging, and it took 5 to 10 years to really get to where they wanted to be. And that's why I try to tell people, you can't be an overnight success, and if you are, it's extreme favor. But working at what you want to do, overnight success does not. It's 10 years to be an overnight success is what I tell people.
So you was at the financial firm, right? You have your blog, and now you have your own digital marketing agency. So like tell me how you made that leap from like your 9 to 5 and you had your side hustle to now it's like, oh, now I got my own thing going on. So walk me through how you made that leap, because a lot of people, they may have 9 to 5s or anything in that nature, and it's like, how do you make that leap from one to the other?
I would say first it started off as an accident. People are like, how's that an accident? Because I was really only doing digital marketing on the side to pay the rent, to be honest with you. I never really wanted to be an entrepreneur. I really liked working. I liked my job. Even though it wasn't what I studied, I thought I was going to be somebody's vice president or CEO somewhere, someday at some company. I didn't know where it was. But it wasn't really my plan to be an entrepreneur. And the way that I got into digital marketing is because when I was doing the blog, I found out really quickly, you can write the best book of your life, but no one's going to read it if you don't send traffic to it. So I started learning about social media and advertising and things like that so I could push people to read the blog. And then once I fell in love with that, I was like, oh, I can make some money doing this, because everybody was asking me, well, how do you do a social media post like this, or how do you create your graphics? And then when you came to my event, the whole theme was consultations over conversations, because I was having one too many conversations without getting paid. So I said, we're going to turn these conversations into consultations, and then those consultations turned into monthly clients that I have on retainer. And so as I was building the side hustle, I looked up one day and I was making half of my money that I was working with in side hustle money.
Ooh, you rich.
No, it was going to the bills. I'm going to tell you, student loans ain't no joke. So I was like, oh, okay. And I have some sales background, so if I took the time that I was spending at my 9 to 5 doing business development and sales to bring in new clients, I might be able to do this full time. And actually I was scared. I didn't want to, I wanted to do it, but lots of things were holding me back. And it wasn't until the company had layoffs that I was like, oh, all right, I'm going to do this. I was saved, and I don't know if anybody has ever been saved from a layoff before. It's not as bad as getting laid off, but think about all those people that got let go, you doing their job and your job. And now you're in a company culture that is terrible. People don't like where they are, people can't stand management, people are uncomfortable, people are uncertain, and I just had this epic attitude when it came to work. So I said, you know what? This is the time to give it a try. And that's when I left and took the leap. And one thing that people would say is, which I found is to be like the truest thing ever, I kept looking for stories to find out how I was going to plan my leap. And I was like, well, how much ramen did you eat? And, well, okay, so were your bills paid? What didn't you pay? What did you do about your student loans? Where did you live? What couch did you sleep on? I wanted to know so I could prepare myself, especially coming from the finance industry. And I can't say I was the best at money management, but I knew better because I was teaching money management and budgeting. So to take such a risk, knowing that I was leaving, not covering my entire salary, was crazy. So I was looking for those stories, and I just could not find what I thought my story was going to be. But one thing that I find that is true that every entrepreneur has told me, when you take that leap and you spend that time doing what you want to do, the money will come. The clients will come because you've made space. And my mentor always told me that. She's like, whatever you want, you have to make space for it, and you have to act as if it is already happening. So even with her client, her closet, she's like, I make space in my closet. I can't receive anything else if it's cluttered and I'm not taking care of it, because God's not going to bless me with more. So I just took it and I said, all right, cool. And we've been at it. The dog is fed. Macy has food.
And donuts.
And yes,